Building a family can be a complicated, messy, lonely, and sometimes heartbreaking process. But you don't have to navigate this challenging journey alone.
Welcome to the All Paths podcast, where we support and celebrate all of the different ways there are to try to grow your family. We are your hosts, Kate and Emily from the nonprofit organization All Paths Family Building, and today we're talking with Mirna about her journey. Mirna, thank you for joining us on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we're so happy to chat with you. So before we get into your family building journey in more detail, we'd love you to just introduce yourself to our listeners.
Hi, I'm Mirna Nova, and I'm from Massachusetts.
Perfect.
Wonderful. So, Mirna, can you tell us a bit about your journey to starting a family? Where did it all begin?
So it began about close to 12 years ago. My husband and I got married very young, and we knew that we wanted to start a family right away. We knew that we both loved children, but I also knew that I had PCOS and that it would be a process to, try to have a family. So we started with my OBGYN. She recommended to see a specialist, where we met a specialist, began with Clomid, IUI. And unfortunately, our dreams of becoming a family didn't happen after a few tries. In between, we took breaks because, it's hard, not just physically, but emotionally. So within the breaks, we also tried natural remedies until we found IVF. Um, and I remember when I heard about IVF, I said, "Oh, I'm going to get pregnant the first round." I was so excited. I said, this is our year. We're going to get pregnant. And that was just my thought. But when you do your first transfer and you get that call that and I am sorry, I get emotional because I remember that first call that, you know, that the transfer didn't stick. It's heartbreaking because not only is it, financially a lot, but emotionally, meaning, the injections, the thinking of like, oh yeah, this is gonna happen. This is it. This is it for us. And then not having that result is just heartbreaking. As a woman, knowing that I was the one that, I don't want to say had the issue, but I was the factor of not being able to, you know, give myself and my husband the family that we wish for, was really heartbreaking. And it took a toll on me, because I would say to myself, am I not woman enough? Am I am I why me? Why is this happening to me? I feel like I'm a good person, a good wife, a good daughter. Um, why does it have to be so difficult? I felt alone as well, in the process. Alone, not because of the partner. My partner has always been number one. I don't think I would be able to go through this journey without him. And I think him and I are the only ones that know what this journey takes. But you feel like, what else can I do as a woman? And then the second try, I became pregnant, and then unfortunately at 6 weeks, we miscarried.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
At that time, we had to take a break, and um, because again, it's very, very difficult.
Yeah.
When and you guys also understand my feelings towards it. Now to know, I was just pregnant after all these years, and out of nowhere, um, you go to have lunch, and you go into the restroom, and everything is there. So your husband rushes you to the hospital, and they tell you that what you wish for so long, in the blink of an eye, is gone. So you take another break, and then you try again. You try again, and with the last two embryos that you have, you say, "This is it. Third time is a charm." And they implant both embryos during the holiday season, and it doesn't take. So that time, once again, we decide to take a break. I remember telling my husband, we're going to have the conversation with this clinic and see what happened with the embryos that was transferred. And then at that time, we'll decide what we're going to do from there. After that meeting, I told my husband, I'm a person that always likes to follow my gut. I said, I don't think this is the right place for us. I think we need to do a little bit of more research and find other fertility resources is going to be the best for us. Not only to help us conceive, but I want a space that can listen to us, that I don't feel like we're just one more. So after a lot of research, I found CCRM, and I found Dr. Steyer. There was something that I read on his bio that really spoke to me. And in that meeting, a consultation, my husband couldn't join me, but I left and I said, "This is our doctor. He's the one that's going to make this happen for us." And that was in the midst of I believe the pandemic. We started the process, and then the pandemic hit, and I made the decision to tell my husband, I think I don't want to complete the process as of right now. I don't know what the pandemic is going to hold for everyone. So I think there's a good time for us to kind of you know, just unwind from day to day. And I honestly think that was the best decision that we made. And when I was ready to go back, we began. And the day of the egg retrieval, or the night before, I told my husband, I was like, "Oh my God, I can barely walk." Like I was literally, I couldn't walk. And I get into the clinic, and I'm like barely walking, and they do all the process. And when I wake up from the egg retrieval, I was afraid because the first time I did IVF with a different clinic, I want to say maybe 4 years younger, and 3 or 4 years younger, and they only removed 11 eggs, and out of those 11 eggs, only 4 were good to transfer. So when I woke up from the egg retrieval, Dr. Steyer came to me and he said, "Mirna, I took out 32 eggs."
Whoa,
32 eggs.
that's insane.
And he was like, "I didn't even put you in like strong, like really high medication." And out of those 32, we were able to do the testing, and 9 were great. We have 9, well, now 8 frozen embryos. And I was so happy. After that, we were just amazed. We scheduled a transfer, and on my first transfer, I got pregnant. And um, our daughter was born at 26 weeks. Our little miracle, our little fighter. Our and it's a beautiful story to share, to that hope. People shouldn't stop hoping that something like this can happen. When the time is right, when your body tells you this is your time, when you find the right doctor, the right resources, anything can happen as long as you don't lose hope. Because my daughter is a walking miracle.
I love it. And I mean, yes, hope for sure. But when I listen to that, I definitely think of resilience that
Yeah.
you and your husband, like, obviously had the resilience to keep going, but also had the resilience to know when to pause and when to take some time to yourselves and take time to recover physically, emotionally, and all of the things. I mean, sometimes there were external forces making you
Mhm.
take a pause, but it sounds like you also really listened to yourselves and what you needed in a given moment and took that time. And I think that's so valuable. And of course, we get sometimes so focused on the outcome, and the outcome is important. But your health and well-being along the way is also very, very important. And sometimes we lose sight in that because we're like tunnel vision
Right.
for parenthood that we're trying to achieve.
So the resilience, I remember having conversations with my husband, and he's like, Myrna, it's okay. It's okay. We can adopt. It's okay if we don't have to be parents. He was seeing me. He was
Hmm.
seeing that my struggle, my pain, and he was feeling it too, but
Hmm.
he was being the bigger person for me along the way. But I said, no, I don't want to give up. I know I can be a mom. I know I can carry a child. I know this can happen. So when it happened, he thanks me every day for not giving up.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
that's great.
yeah.
That's great. Well, so definitely it sounds like your relationship was very strong and really very foundational for both of you to get through it, was leaning on each other, which is great. But how did this journey affect other relationships in your life, whether it's your own relationship with your body or your relationship with other friends and family, things like that? How did that affect it?
So with my body, um, I think I played a lot of like blame games mentally. A lot of like, why is my body reacting this way? Knowing that I have PCOS, like, why do I have to have PCOS? Um, and figuring out the resources and how to how to deal with it. But it's a lot of blame game, I want to say. Um, so that's how I kind of dealt with it at first before I said, okay, I'm okay with what's going on, and let's figure out how I can change this. And I think that's the part of just being okay, understanding, continuing to have that hope and faith, and not giving up. When it comes to family and friends, I want to say that I have a good support system. Not good. I have a great support system, to tell you the truth. Um, but when we got married so young, everyone's like, "Oh, when are you guys gonna have babies?" So, you guys been married for so long period of time. Um, and then finally, I went on social media and I said our story, and a lot of was supportive, a lot of it was ignorance, and that's okay, you know, because a lot of people don't know the journey or the process of actually trying to conceive. It's very easy for someone to sneeze and get pregnant, right? Um, but that made me realize that with some of the people that were ignorant to our situation, that we need to bring more awareness, that we need to be more vocal, that we shouldn't be afraid to speak out about something that other people are going through and are not ready to talk about it, or that don't even know how to start to talk about it. So I feel like I did have a great support system. And the ones that were a little ignorant, I you can educate, and that's fine.
Mhm. And 12 years is a really long time. When did you decide to kind of open up to that broader community, whether it was extended family, friends, putting it up on social media? Was that something that you did right at the beginning, or did it take some time?
No, some family and friends knew I really from the beginning, like very, very close family and friends. Along the way, I opened up a little bit more to, to closer friends. But I want to say about 6 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, that's when I shared it on social media. And it was a true, like, oh my God, I can breathe. Because it's like you're holding a secret, and it shouldn't be a secret,
Yeah.
you know? It shouldn't be a secret. Yes, it's personal, but it's something that is also educational for others. Again, you know, I feel like, especially, I want to say in certain cultures, um, it's like, oh my God, you can't have a baby, or you have to go through science, or you have to to take all these other process, and they don't want to talk about, like, yeah, not everyone can just like get pregnant naturally. Sometimes some of us actually need help, and that's okay. And if I could be the voice for our culture, for our community, I am so happy that I can do that.
Well, you're very kind and gracious about that, and it would be understandable if you weren't, always. But I think it's great your sort of attitude about helping people know what to say and what not to say, and try to understand what you're going through, even if hopefully, for their sake, they're not going through it themselves. When did you learn that you had PCOS?
So I learned it in a very young age.
Good.
I got my first period when I was 12, and since then it was irregular. I had an irregular period. Um, I would not have it for a few months, and then would come and then not come, and it was just irregular. The older that I got, I just gained weight out of nowhere. It hasn't gotten better either.
Mhm.
Um, other things like thinning your hair, facial hair, like skin patches. There's different things that comes with PCOS, and not all PCOS are the same.
Right.
So a little bit of the research that I've done, so not all PCOS are the same. So, when I went into my doctor, I think I want to say around the age of 18, they confirmed it.
Mhm. Which,
So,
I mean, is even though obviously it's hard to get a diagnosis like that, it is sometimes a relief to just know, like, what is the explanation for what is going on. And so, it is good that it was relatively early in your life, but at the same time, it was like 6 years after your period started before someone explained it. So I just feel like we all could, just society could do so much better at,
of course.
identifying and diagnosing these conditions. And then I think sometimes I feel like people have just a limited knowledge, or have had very limited education about these things. And so they think PCOS or endometriosis or whatever it may be looks or sounds a certain way. That, like, if you're explaining certain symptoms and you're presenting physically in some way, it fits or doesn't fit their impression of what PCOS looks like. Instead of, like you said, it's actually such a diverse list of potential symptoms, potential effects on your body. And so they need to, like, dig beyond just the surface level to factor it in and see if it maybe is PCOS.
For sure.
But because of the PCOS, you were a little as prepared as anyone can be. You had a little bit of a sense that maybe trying to conceive might be more challenging than it might be for someone without PCOS.
Yes. So I knew, you know, um, I want to say around high school, having friends, they're having regular periods. I knew that something was different with me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that there were going to be challenges when I was ready to become a mom. So
Mhm.
I think I would, in the back of my mind, I was always prepared um, to know that I had to deal with those challenges. But at the same time, until you're actually dealing with the challenges, you don't know how that's going to affect you, right? So um, I guess I guess it helped me in the process of beginning our journey, but it's still very difficult while you're in it.
Absolutely. And that's why I even hesitated to even ask it. I think it's like maybe then it's less surprising to have the issue than someone who just maybe is not, not expecting it at all. But no, I think that really doesn't change the difficulty of the experiences itself.
Right.
It just maybe makes you, hopefully pursue help sooner or think just because you kind of have a sense like that it's not happening on its own.
Right.
Right.
And I feel like now that obviously I have it and I know what to look for, um, now I can be more knowledgeable for my daughter to say,
Mhm.
okay, you might or you might not have it. And if you do,
Mhm.
these are the process that I can help you, I
Mhm.
can guide you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It sounds like your relationship did a lot of heavy lifting during this whole time, and I'm really glad that you were able to be there for each other in such a way. But where else did you find support? Were there any communities? Were there any particular people who really kind of lifted you up and helped you get through all of those years?
Honestly, no. IVF was really new to me. Someone I can't remember who mentioned it to me. And no, actually, hold on, I apologize. When I did the IUI and the COMID, there was some talk of IVF. But from the time that we did that to the actual time that we did IVF was years later.
Mhm.
So that IVF word I remembered, but I didn't remember. And I feel like someone along the way, I don't know if that's someone at work or mentioned IVF, and I said, and then we really looked into it. But there was not enough resources for me during that time, or anyone that I can talk to, another friend that went through it, you know. So unfortunately, along that time, it was just us
Mhm.
learning everything, and we're still learning because there's
Mhm.
so much, that entails.
Mhm. So did that lack of support, unfortunately that you personally didn't have other than your wonderful spouse, in pun intended, inspire you to start something else yourself?
Yes, 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 yes. So that helped me begin Fertility Inspired. But Fertility Inspired actually was inspiration by M before. So
Mhm.
when I you know got the guts to just say what was going on with us, um I built a community on social media, and I was oh I think I had to break down to be able to race up, if that even makes any sense. And see the good in everything that was happening, and the path that we had to go through to become parents. So, because I was so hopeful and my faith was always my number one, within that community, people that are sisterhood that were going through it, I was very inspirational, even though I was going through hell and back, and with my process, I was always finding the right words to inspire them in their process. So, I had a few sisters that along the way that said, Mirna, you're so inspirational. Um, so then I changed the name to Fertility Inspired, um, which at first was product based because I remember saying to myself, like, I wish that, I had something that even though I didn't want to share my story with somebody else, I had a piece of jewelry, I had a piece of something that meant, you know, when I had the loss or when I was going through IVF. But along the way, that product base became more of like, hey, Myrna, can I speak to you? I'm not ready to share my story, but I need guidance. What resources do you have? I just need someone to talk to. My friends don't, they know the process, but they don't understand the process.
Hmm.
Um, so that's what inspired Fertility Inspired to be what it is. And I am very proud to bring our communities a platform, a space that is safe, that they understand that the person behind it has also gone through the journey. So I'm just not a voice to say I understand infertility, but I lived it. Um, and that at any time of the day, because you don't know what time you're going to break down, I'll be an ear to listen. And within Fertility Inspire, I want to bring them resources, something that I didn't have. I want to bring them a safe place that they can really just speak what they feel in within their heart. Sometimes we always say, "No, we're okay," but sometimes we want to say, "Fuck it all, I'm not okay. I'm not." Sorry to say it that
No
way.
need to apologize. Sometimes that is the right word or
Yeah.
the right
Okay.
phrase. No, don't
Yes.
worry.
Absolutely.
Um. It's true.
Yeah.
Say
Mhm.
fuck it all. I know I don't feel okay. I don't understand why my body's doing this. I don't understand why this didn't take. I don't, all these injections are like killing my body. The hormone, I can't deal with the hormones. Um, I love my partner, but I don't want to deal with him, this day because of the hormones. Um, I just don't want to deal with it at all. And sometimes you just need that, to break down and lift yourself up. And sometimes you really need to speak to someone. Um, Although our partners are great, um, and I'm talking again on behalf of mine, and in my experience, um, they actually don't know how we feel in our body. You know, I remember going now through with this, with IVF, and I received the box with all the medication, and mentally I was like, I'm prepared. I am prepared. But when I opened that box, I broke down. I cried so much. And I'm like, where are these tears coming from? But it's because I remembered that I had to go through the process over again. And I knew what that was gonna do to my body. But
Mm-hmm.
not only was gonna do to my body, but it's that pressure. Because now you have pressure on yourself, right? Are these medications going to take to get enough eggs? Are these embryos are going to be good enough?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what people don't talk about. People don't talk it's just not the injection. It's how you feel that you need to know that your body is going to take all this that you're giving yourself. Yes, that pinch hurts for a second or two, but what about everything else?
That's such a great point. Just the mental and emotional weight of that. Every stick is like moving towards that goal that you feel like is on your shoulders to meet that whatever milestone it is clinically to get to then the next step. And then is that going to work? Is that going to work? Is this going to be optimal? Did I do everything I could? It's such a good point. I mean, it's so hard though, like that pressure. Now that you say that, I think it's so true. And that no matter what, it really falls on the person physically trying to conceive. It falls a
Yes.
lot on that person for sure.
I remember, I stopped coffee, caffeinated drinks. I stopped doing this, stopped doing that, stopped doing this. And no, not drinking wine, even before the transfer. Just as soon as I got that box, or even months before, I stopped a whole bunch of things. And
Mm.
sometimes we need to learn how to just like ease down, because we do give it ourselves a lot of pressure. So within
Mhm.
Fertility Inspire, we're hoping to help ease that
Mhm.
pressure.
So, what are the kind of different elements of Fertility Inspired? And then, I think you have something special coming up that we want to hear about too.
Yes, so Fertility Inspire offers one-on-one. We also offer a community circle within our community, sisters that are going through the same journey, or have even gone through the same journey, or have gone through a journey, because this trauma stays with us.
Mm-hmm.
It stays with us. So we build a safe space to come in and share your stories. And with that being said, we are doing our first seminar that's called Let's Talk Fertility. It's a brunch. And I'm happy to say that Dr. Aaron Steyer, which was our doctor, that made our journey possible, will be our guest speaker. We're also going to have some great experts in our field, including all paths. And it's going to be a safe space to not just women, but this is a space for couples, friends, family, to learn about, the process of infertility, and how you can not just help your your spouse, but your friend and your family, to get knowledge, a safe space, to learn that you're not just by yourself. Because I remember going on to my first appointment years ago, and I'm like, I would look at myself and I'm like, I look normal, but I'm not normal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the only one, and mentally, I'm the only one going through it. And then you go into that waiting room and you're like, wait, there's others like me, and
Mm-hmm.
you kind of
Hmm.
feel, it sounds bad, but you kind of feel a little at ease, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not the only one.
Yeah.
And
For sure.
then you keep going through, you like your other appointments, you're like, oh, there's more, there's more, there's more. Um, but then at one point, do you chat with them and say, I understand how you feel, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Um, so that's what the brunch is about, is to a safe space to build a stronger community within the New England area. And hopefully we can expand to bring resources and to bring a lot of support. This event is definitely our baby, and we're hoping that it brings everything to our community that we want it to bring, which is
Mm-hmm.
a lot of love overall.
Yeah.
Well,
I
that's
love
really
that.
wonderful.
Yeah, and so we're gonna put information about it in the show notes.
Yes.
But I know it's on Sunday, September 14th. And one thing I love about it is that you specifically wanted to have it at a really beautiful place. It's gonna be at the lovely
Brandon Links.
Granite Links in Quincy, I believe.
Yes.
And so it's just like, I feel like you were obviously so thoughtful about a lot of the elements of it, including where you were going to have it. And I think even doing it as a brunch, like you really want this to be like a lovely, nurturing event because like it's not a topic people want to have to talk about necessarily. It's not like an appealing thing or like where you go to a convention for like a comic book that you like and it's fun and exciting. It's like this is like an event you're going to for something that's so
Right.
challenging. But you wanted to do what you could to make it like appealing and fun and nurturing. And I think that's really lovely. So we're happy. All Paths is really proud to be part of it.
Yes.
We're looking forward to it. And like I said, we'll include information about it in the show notes.
Thank you. We are so happy to have you. Yes, I wanted to bring a beautiful space to our community because I think we deserve that.
Mhm.
Um, and I think it's a great space for connection overall, and a beautiful place to build friendship because I feel like this community can go a long way with building friendship and support within one another.
That's awesome. And like Kate said, we'll put links in the chat. But do you have a website or is it all social media based?
Social media based. We also have a
Okay,
link tree as well, which is linked in our bio.
perfect. Thank you so much for sharing your story and sharing. And now I can't like think of a word that's not inspiration for the inspiration behind Fertility Inspired. And like Kate said, the brunch sounds like it's going to be a really lovely event. And I know we're really excited to be a part of it. Before we wrap up, there are two questions that we like to ask all of our guests, and we'd love to get your thoughts on them. The first is what's one thing that you would say to someone who is just starting to try to grow their family? And the flip side is what's one thing that you wish people would never say when someone shares with them that they are struggling to build their family?
So with the first question, I would say be gentle with yourself. This journey does look different for everyone, um, and that's okay. You don't have to figure things out right away. So definitely take your time and take one step at a time, day by day. Remember to breathe, and also remember that it's okay to stop and start again. You're not alone. Even though sometimes certain people do this process alone, you're not alone. And all your feelings are valid along the way. With the second question, a lot of people say, just relax, it will happen. Go on vacation, it will happen. If it was that easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of us wouldn't go through the process. And although, a lot of people say it with good intentions, this phrase can sometimes feel a little bit dismissive and it overlooks our emotional and physical and even the medical part of it. And it sounds better to say, I'm here for you. That that comes a long way. Because sometimes we just need an ear or a hug um along this way. Especially, if you really don't understand the process, just saying I'm here for you means a lot to someone like us.
100%. And pretty much anyone who says just relax has made it clear they don't understand because, if relaxing alone could do it or vacations alone could do it. And, obviously sometimes that does help people
Huh?
get over the hump. But like for so many people, depending on what their diagnosis is, no amount of vacationing and relaxing is going to really help. They need medical assistance like you would for any other condition. It's like,
Right.
why do we treat fertility so differently than so many other medical conditions? Just because it's not life threatening doesn't mean it isn't medical care and doesn't mean it's not urgently needed because it's one of the most fundamental parts of life. If you want to be a parent and it's not happening, it is so devastating because it's a very basic human right and desire to become a parent. So,
Yeah. And I want to say that, sometimes when people say here, oh, you're infertile. Oh, wow. He's you know, no, it's okay. It's
yeah.
okay. because there are resources in there, and to become parents. And guess what? At the end of the day, you you appreciate your parenthood even more because of the
Hmm.
process that you had to endure.
I agree with that. I know I had a couple of people literally, they seemed like they were like recoiling a little bit or like getting away from me. I wanted to be like, it's not communicable, it's not contagious. Like you're
If I
not
sneeze
gonna,
on you, that doesn't
yeah,
mean you're
you're
gonna
not gonna
now be
catch my
Right.
infertility, girl. So
Yeah.
don't worry. You can get a little closer. I'm not gonna breathe on
Right.
you.
I don't know, but do you want people like that close to you? Like, all right,
No,
go, you
true.
No,
Actually,
no.
back
go
away.
off.
If you,
Yeah, back
yeah,
off.
just
You,
go.
you if
Right.
that's your mindset, like I can't
Hmm.
deal with you.
I
Don't have the
love
patience.
I love the friends and family that are like, you know what? No, let me learn more about what's
Yeah,
going on,
yeah.
because I want to be supportive of, like, I have friends that, yeah, you know, I'm going to attend the event because I want to learn more about the process to support you along the way, to support any other friends or family that have to go through the process. And those are, I feel like, the people that, yes, um, that you need by your side.
I
Absolutely.
love that. I love that. Well, thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Mirna. It was lovely chatting today.
Thank you for having me.
We hope you'll join us next time for more family building stories and resources. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts to make sure you never miss an episode. And follow us on social media at All Paths FB or visit our website, allpathsfb.org, for more information about our work.
We're counting down the days until our annual Footsteps for Family Building walk. As a nonprofit organization, we are so grateful to everyone who supports our work, making it possible for anyone, anywhere to have access to the support, resources, options, and community they need when trying to build the family of their dreams. Today, we want to give a shout out to the advocate sponsors of our upcoming walk: Boston IVF, CCRM Boston, Femesis, First Fertility, Grain Fertility, LabCorp, and Seattle Sperm Bank. If any of these amazing clinics and organizations have been a part of your journey and you want a way to say thanks and give back, donate to or join their walk team. You can find direct links to each team in today's show notes.
Thank you for joining us for this episode. Please help spread the word so that anyone who is struggling to grow their family can join the conversation. It's an honor to walk with you on your family building journey.